The Consciousness Code Series, Episode 6, Consciousness and Quantum Physics, Observer or Illusion. This episode explores the profound and often perplexing connection between consciousness and quantum mechanics, weaving through ideas from quantum superposition and the observer effect to ancient metaphysics, the measurement problem, and beyond. What is real when we look? You look at the world. You see a tree, a light beam, the flicker of a screen. But what if that reality only formed because you observed it? What if reality, at its most fundamental level, is unfinished, until a conscious mind steps in to witness it? In the quantum realm, particles are not particles. They are probabilities. They are everywhere and nowhere at once, until you measure them. The double-slit experiment changed everything. A particle passes through two slits. Or does it? If unobserved, it behaves like a wave, spreading out, interfering with itself. But when watched, it acts like a solid object, choosing a path, collapsing its possibility into reality. The mere act of observation, the conscious witness, appears to shift the behavior of matter. But how is that possible? And more importantly, what does that say about us? Today on the Consciousness Code, we step into the space between science and spirit, into the smallest scale, to ask the biggest questions. Is consciousness shaping reality, or are we just passengers on a quantum ride? Classical versus quantum reality. For centuries, science worked like clockwork. Newton's universe was elegant, mechanical, predictable. If you knew the position and velocity of every particle, you could calculate the future. Reality was a machine. Then came the cracks: Planck, Einstein, Bohr, Schrödinger, Heisenberg. In the early 20th century, quantum mechanics shattered that clockwork vision. Light wasn't just a wave, it was also a particle. Particles didn't have definite positions, only probabilities. Electrons didn't orbit like planets. They existed in clouds of uncertainty. Welcome to the quantum world, a place where reality is smeared across probabilities, and nothing is certain until observed. Enter the wave function, a mathematical tool that tells us where a particle might be. But here's the mystery. When you measure it, it collapses. Possibilities become one outcome. Like rolling a cosmic die, and then watching all the other sides vanish. But why does observation collapse the wave function? What is observation, really? Is it a machine detecting? A camera recording? Or is it the mind, awareness itself, that triggers reality to crystallize? The observer effect and measurement problem observation changes everything. The observer effect and measurement problem observation changes everything. In quantum mechanics, this isn't just a poetic idea. It's a mathematical truth. The act of measuring, of asking a particle where it is, changes what it is. Before you look, it's a cloud of probabilities. After you look, it's a dot on your screen. This is called the measurement problem, and it's haunted physics for over a century. What does it mean to measure something? Is a machine enough, or do you need awareness? Erwin Schrödinger took this idea and turned it into a paradox, the famous cat-in-a-box thought experiment. A cat inside a sealed box is both alive and dead until someone opens the lid. How absurd, but how revealing. At the quantum level, systems remain in superposition, multiple states at once, until observed. Does the observer collapse this state into reality? Some interpretations say yes. The Copenhagen interpretation, long dominant in physics, insists that the observer plays a fundamental role in determining reality. But what is an observer? A scientist? A dog? A camera? A consciousness? Others argue it's not consciousness, but decoherence. That interaction with the environment triggers collapse. But even that doesn't fully explain why only one outcome appears, and that's where things get strange. Enter many worlds theory. When a quantum system is measured, all possible outcomes happen, each in a parallel universe. Reality splits, infinitely. In one world, the cat lives. In another, it dies. In another, you never open the box. Then there's cubism, a newer view that treats the wave function not as a description of reality, but of belief. It says quantum mechanics doesn't describe the world itself, but how we interact with it. In cubism, measurement is personal, experience-based. In every view, the observer is inescapable. And consciousness, whether direct or implied, is never far behind. quantum entanglement, and non-locality. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Two particles once connected remain linked, even when separated by galaxies. Change one and the other reacts instantly. This is quantum entanglement, a bizarre property of quantum systems that defies logic, and it challenges our deepest assumptions about the nature of space, time, and causality. According to classical physics, nothing can travel faster than light, but entanglement seems to violate that rule. There's no signal, no delay, just perfect correlation. Two entangled particles are not separate. They are one system. But here's where it gets even stranger. If observation collapses the wave function, and entangled particles share a state, then observing one instantly affects the other, even across the universe. Does this imply information is traveling instantaneously? Or is the universe fundamentally non-local, where here and there are illusions? Physicist John Bell put it to the test. His Bell's theorem showed that if quantum mechanics is correct, then any realistic theory must be non-local. That means either the world is connected in a way we can't see, or reality isn't made of separate parts at all. So what's the role of consciousness in this web of entanglement? Some speculate that the conscious mind, being non-local itself, might tap into this entangled reality. Could awareness arise from quantum connections between neurons, or between minds? Could telepathy, intuition, and synchronicity be echoes of an entangled universe? Most physicists remain cautious, but the questions linger. And as we peer deeper into the entangled world, we find something humbling. Separation may be an illusion, and consciousness might be what ties it all together. Consciousness causes collapse hypothesis. What if consciousness doesn't just observe the universe, but creates it? That's the radical idea behind the consciousness causes collapse hypothesis. It began with the pioneers of quantum theory. Physicist John von Neumann argued that no physical system, no detector, no computer could cause wave function collapse. Only consciousness, he said, could do that. Later, Eugene Wigner expanded on this. He believed the conscious mind plays an active role in shaping outcomes. In this view, the observer doesn't just watch reality unfold. The observer selects the reality that emerges. This isn't just metaphor, it's mathematics meeting metaphysics. But it's also controversial. Critics argue it invites mysticism into science, that it replaces one mystery, the measurement problem, with another. And yet, the theory persists. Why? Because we still don't know what causes collapse, and the mind remains the most enigmatic force in the known universe. Could consciousness be built into the fabric of reality? Could the laws of physics require a conscious observer to operate fully? Consider this. If no one looks at the moon, is it still there? Einstein said yes. Quantum mechanics whispers, maybe not. This theory raises profound questions. Is consciousness fundamental to the cosmos? Is the universe incomplete without awareness? Is our role as observers more essential than we ever imagined? Or are we simply inserting ourselves where we don't belong, misinterpreting math through the lens of ego? Either way, the collapse continues, with or without us. Panpsychism and quantum mind theory. What if consciousness isn't something that emerges from matter, but something matter has always had? That's the bold idea behind panpsychism. The view that awareness in some primitive form exists in all things. Not just in humans or animals, but in atoms, electrons, photons. In this framework, consciousness isn't rare. It's universal. It's not the end product of evolution, but the foundation of existence itself. Quantum mechanics opens the door to such thinking. If particles are undefined until observed, if entanglement connects the universe non-locally, then maybe consciousness isn't in the brain. Maybe the brain is a lens, tuning into the field of mind. Enter quantum mind theory. One of its most famous models is OR, or Orchestrated Objective Reduction, proposed by physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. Their theory suggests that consciousness arises not from neural firing alone, but from quantum processes within microtubules, tiny structures inside neurons. They argue that these microtubules may host quantum computations, that within their structure coherence is maintained, allowing for something like a quantum soul to emerge. It's speculative, controversial, and difficult to test. but it offers a possibility that biology may be quantum aware. That memory, intuition, creativity, and yes, consciousness arise not despite quantum uncertainty, but because of it. Critics say the brain is too warm and wet for quantum effects to survive. That decoherence would wipe out any quantum structure. But research into quantum biology, including phenomena in photosynthesis, bird navigation, and even smell, suggests otherwise. Nature may already use quantum effects. So why not the mind? If quantum fields underlie all matter, and if consciousness interacts with those fields, then perhaps mind and matter are not separate at all, but two expressions of the same mystery. Ancient wisdom and quantum echoes. Quantum physics may be young, but its echoes are ancient. Long before Planck or Schrödinger, mystics and sages asked similar questions. What is reality? What is self? And who, or what, observes it all? In Vedic philosophy, the ultimate reality is Brahman, the unchanging, infinite field from which all arises. The world of form is illusion, Maya. Only consciousness, pure awareness, is real. This mirrors the quantum suggestion that particles have no fixed properties until observed, the idea that form arises after attention. Buddhist teachings speak of emptiness, that all things lack inherent existence. Nothing exists independently. Everything is interdependent, co-arising. This resonates with quantum entanglement, where the parts cannot be separated from the whole. In Taoist thought, the Tao is the source and flow, nameless, formless, yet ever-present. It is both the field and the process. Just as quantum fields underlie particles, and the act of interaction gives rise to form. These ancient systems didn't use the language of physics, but they touched the same mystery, that reality isn't fixed, it's relational. That truth doesn't lie in objects, but in awareness. Modern science tends to reduce, to break down, but ancient wisdom invites us to look inward, to reflect. What if both approaches are needed? What if science explains the how, but consciousness reveals the why? As we uncover quantum strangeness, particles without properties, superpositions, and uncertainty, we are reminded, mystery is not a defect in knowledge. It is the invitation to deeper seeing. And sometimes the oldest truths become new again, illusion or interference. What if consciousness isn't the driver, but the byproduct? Some scientists believe awareness is not fundamental but emergent, a side effect of complex processes in the brain. In this view, consciousness is a kind of illusion, not in the sense that it's fake, but that it isn't what it seems. Like a rainbow. It's real, but not a thing. It's an effect, a phenomenon born from interaction. Could the mind be just that? The echo of neurons firing, of quantum noise collapsing into cognition? In this model, consciousness doesn't collapse reality. Reality collapses into consciousness. Or maybe they interfere. The self, your sense of I, may be a construct, a continuity created by memory, language, and identity, a pattern that emerges from chaos. Some researchers propose that consciousness may arise from quantum coherence, multiple possibilities humming together, and then decoherence, the narrowing of that hum into a decision, a moment. Could the flicker of awareness be interference patterns of information? And if so, what does that say about free will, about choice? Are we simply collapsing probabilities in patterns we call thoughts? Or is there something more? A hidden observer beyond thought, witnessing even that illusion. Neuroscience has mapped brain activity to decisions, to moods, to movements, but it hasn't yet explained experience. The feeling of red, the taste of salt, the ache of loss. That gap in between behavior and being is where illusion ends and mystery begins. AI, quantum computing, and mind simulation. Artificial intelligence is advancing faster than we imagined. Machines can write, speak, paint, and now reflect? Some say they're beginning to think, but can they know? The next frontier may not be building stronger AI, but building conscious AI. And quantum mechanics could hold the key. Classical computers use bits, ones and zeros, but quantum computers use qubits, which can exist in multiple states at once. This allows them to solve problems far beyond the reach of any silicon machine. But what happens when those qubits are applied to cognition, to decision-making? Could a quantum computer simulate the fluidity, uncertainty, and paradox of human thought? And if it could, would it experience anything? Some researchers believe that only quantum systems could host genuine awareness, that coherence and entanglement allow for something like subjective presence. Others remain skeptical. But whether quantum AI becomes sentient or not, the simulation of mind continues. Already, models like GPT simulate empathy, simulate creativity, simulate reflection, and in a quantum system, these simulations could become more lifelike than ever before. Here's the tension. If a machine speaks like us, dreams like us, responds like us, do we treat it like us? Or does consciousness require something more, something machines will never have? The deeper question is this: if we build something that feels real, can we still tell the difference? Or are we simulating ourselves into forgetting what mind truly is? The unified field and participatory universe. What if the universe isn't just observed, but shaped by observation itself? That's the core of the participatory universe, a radical idea proposed by physicist John Archibald Wheeler. Wheeler suggested that consciousness doesn't just witness reality, it helps create it, not in a mystical way, but through interaction, decision, measurement. He called it observer participancy. The act of observation gives rise to what is observed. In Wheeler's vision, the universe is a vast question mark, and we are part of its answer. This view resonates with quantum mechanics, where systems are undefined until measured, where even the past, yes, the past, can be altered by choices made in the present. This was shown in the delayed choice experiment, where the way we choose to observe a particle seems to change its previous state, as if time itself waits for the conscious question. At the same time, physics searches for a unified field theory, a single framework that connects gravity, electromagnetism, and the forces of the universe. What if consciousness isn't outside this field, but inside it? Not an afterthought, but a central property. Could the unified field include awareness? Could the mind of the cosmos be a literal field, one we tune into, one that tunes into us? The anthropic principle adds another layer. It asks, why is the universe fine-tuned for life? Why do physical constants fall within a narrow band that makes existence and consciousness impossible? Coincidence, necessity, or reflection? Are we the outcome of the cosmos, or its co-creators? A participatory universe invites us to stop being mere observers and realize we are also participants. And the field we're looking for may be looking through us, living the question. What if we never find a final answer? What if consciousness and quantum physics remain mysteries? Not because we're ignorant, but because they are meant to remain open. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke once said, "Live the questions now." Maybe the role of consciousness isn't to solve the universe, but to experience it. We've explored particles that exist in all places at once, minds that might collapse probability into presence, a cosmos that may reflect the observer as much as the observed. So where does this leave us? In wonder, in paradox, in the quiet realization that perhaps we are the mystery. Consciousness is not a thing, not a mechanism. It is the canvas upon which reality appears, the flashlight and the darkness it illuminates. And quantum physics? Perhaps it isn't a puzzle to be solved, but a koan, a question that bends the mind toward awakening. Every observation you make alters the world. Every thought sends ripples across an unseen field. You are not outside the equation. You are the equation. And that might be the most beautiful mystery of all. Next time on the Consciousness Code, we explore dreams, lucidity, and altered states of mind. Until then, stay curious, stay conscious. If this stirred something inside you, subscribe, like, and share this with a fellow seeker.